Welcome back to the Realty Funnels podcast. I'm Kevin Cahill, and I'm so honored and delighted today to have one of the top real estate agents in the United States, Andrew Warburton. Andrew was just recently ranked the number 9 mega team leader by Real Trends. Andrew, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks so much, Kevin. Glad to be here.
So
Let's
glad
get
to
a lot
have
of
you
people
with us.
motivated and excited today, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's just start by giving everyone a quick overview, who you are, where you do your business, how long you've been at it.
Yeah, real estate, 34 years or so, just north of San Diego in a little wine area called Temecula. And started, Kevin, I hate to tell you this, in professional sales for Xerox Corporation 45 years ago. So, I've just enjoyed sales my whole life, and scaling is what really excites me. And there's 3 times in my life, that I've been involved in scaling, and this is the third time. And now it's all about my 14, soon to be 15-year-old son. And I said to my wife, Annette, who's partner and just extraordinarily intelligent woman, and I said, I want to show Jonathan the world isn't as big as he thinks it is. So let's build a corporation one more time that we scale on a national level. And then Jonathan will have that example so that he starts his life on a rocket ship.
Wow, what a phenomenal example that you're sharing with him. So obviously, top level real estate agent, and been in sales for all these years, and
Yeah.
yet you're really somebody who is constantly innovating. You're working on amazing systems, technology, and one of those that you're working on right now is called iConnect.
I can,
Let's
yeah.
talk about that
Yeah.
for a quick moment.
I have to touch on this, what you just raised about creating, right? Uh, my view has been for many, many years, if you're not creating something new, something that you've made before is getting old. Uh, so it's just an extraordinary ability we have as human beings that if we see the landscape in front of us as a blank landscape, that we can walk into it and design what's forward. I'm one of these people who doesn't think that things are preset in advance. And so you create mentally a creative landscape. It's extremely important. There's lots of intelligent people that create within parameters or process within parameters. But to create, seeing a landscape as completely void, and you're going to walk into that void and create something. Now you're unbounded. And so you can create things that are disruptive. You can create things that are innovative. Um, you know, to me, the thrill in life is anticipating what is not here yet and creating solutions for what is yet to come. I know there's many people who look at what is here and make a solution. You see lots of big rocks and say, okay, I'm going to devise a hydraulic lift that moves rocks. Well, the rocks are there. I like to imagine what's after the rocks, and let's devise something that will move those because they don't exist yet. So in real estate, that's really where we are. I mean, when you're a tech genius and have realty funnels and all of these things that you do. And you know as well as I do, really the way we operate in real estate is very similar to when the California Association of Realtors was started in 1904 or 5. That's over 100 years. It's basically the same, what we do. And the disruption that's happened in the travel industry, in the retail industry, in ordering food, DoorDash, right? In ordering movies, Netflix. The disruption hasn't really hit our industry, and people are afraid of disruption, but really the opportunity in disruption is massive. I really believe, Kevin, that there's a time of opportunity for real estate agents and brokers now like never before. It is the most exciting time in the 35 almost years I've had my license. And so that's what iConnect is about. I kind of sort of set the stage there a little bit, but iConnect is about innovating into that space that is in front of us that in some ways is the same. Buyers, sellers, they don't trust each other. They want somebody in between. So the people who are afraid of agents going away I'm compassionate for them, but they're completely wrong. That's not going to happen. Humans need a bridge between them, particularly when there's a lot of money involved.
And when you think about the real estate transaction, it's typically the largest financial transaction a person
100%.
will have in their
Yeah,
life.
yeah. You
They're
remember the
really,
disruption when the car industry changed, and car dealerships are still there. They just have an internet department, they call it. It's kind of an old-fashioned word now, but at the end of the day, there's usually somebody there that walks you through the paperwork and so on. And of course, there's organizations who do it all through DocuSign, but in reality, let's just talk turkey here. The world has become more about consumers than it has about those who supply product to them. And when somebody gets that, then they're ready for the next era of real estate. I really believe the last 100 years in real estate has been driven, even though, of course, we like customers, home buyers and sellers, it's been driven by agents. It's been driven by real estate companies, rather like the brokerage world. Think about it, guy. Was driven by the guy with lots of books behind him on the wall, and you had to consult with him between Monday and Friday. Now you just tap and swipe on Robinhood. So exactly the same thing is happening now with real estate, and I believe it's long overdue. That the emphasis is on the consumer. And so consumers are saying, hey, we're okay with paying an agent. We need an agent. We just want to choose one ourselves. And we want to know what that agent's going to do for us. And would you please tell us that in advance? And then we'll make our choice. It's a consumer-driven marketplace. So now, look, when I started, you would get a listing and get flyers of it and drive to 10 offices and put them in what were called pigeonholes in the lobby and drop in flyers. And, the next iteration, a friend of mine was involved in designing one of the MLSs. And I had the first laptop in San Diego that had the Blue Books live on my laptop, huge transformation. And here we are, whatever it is, 18, 20, whatever years later. So bottom line is this, look, how do you connect a buyer or seller with an agent in real time? How do you preserve the autonomy of the agent where they feel they're running their own business, and yet at the same time provide that transparent right now experience for the consumer? Because right now is the way it is. How do you bring the two of those together? And that's what we've done with iConnect.
it's so powerful that there is change happening, and there are going to be those innovators who are ready and listening and responding to what the consumers are actually saying they want. And then there'll be those others
Yes.
who are just ignoring the world around them. I remember when I think it was probably almost 20 years ago when it was first pronounced lawfully binding that you could have electronic signatures on documents. And I remember a lot of real
Yeah, I
estate
remember too.
agents in my office were like, "Oh no, my clients still want me to, bring the paperwork over and have them
Yeah.
sign in person." I'm like, "But they actually sign this way at work all day long. You look like an antique relic when you're forcing them to sign uh, paperwork in triplicate when they sign electronically at work all the time. And then 2 years later, everyone's doing it."
Things don't change overnight, particularly when you come to technology. So the technology we're using with iConnect is advanced, it's futurist, it supports the agent, it supports the consumer, it supports the team leader. We have automation processes for team leaders that we've developed. Incidentally, we've processed 12,000 live buyers in the last 13 months. 12,000. Each day, if we don't set 30 buyer appointments, something is going wrong. So there's a pressure there. How do you do that? How do you automate that? And a number of other issues that we can talk about in a moment. But what you're talking about, like with digital signatures, we're now at that place even more monumental, I think, with the real estate industry, that now consumers are rising up on a national level, not in a rebellion, but in terms of consumer opinion. And they're saying, hey, we want to be serviced. We want to know what it costs. We want to know who we're dealing with. We want to know what services that you will provide. That's driving. Now, will that change everybody overnight? Of course not. Did horses disappear when the car was invented? It took 50, 60 years for the roads to be totally taken over. Will electric cars take over in 2030? No, they won't. There's a transition that takes time. There'll be more of them. So any major technology evolution takes time. And so you're right, whether it was electronic signatures or right now. So there is a transition happening with how consumers see agents. And we need, if we want to really make a lot of money and really scale and really be effective in what we call future real estate, then our minds have to move towards what is coming rather than vociferously protecting what has been. Sometimes one has to release what has been, not invalidate it, not criticize it, but release our grip on it. It's rather like scaling a cliff in the White Cliffs of Dover. They're chalky, so it's hard to scale them. And to reach the next one, you have to let that hand go. Your left hand's here, and you'll let go and go to the next one, and let go and go to the next one. And that's what technology is all about. It's about not despising what's behind, but letting go of your grip and gripping onto what's forward. And that's exactly what we're doing with iConnect for agents and customers.
Really, I agree with you 100%. This is not about trashing what brought us here.
No.
It is about embracing the very best of what has brought us here and making it even more appealing to the consumer, to what they want, their experience to be. And it's also all about taking note of the frustrations and the challenges and the friction points and doing everything that we can to streamline and eliminate those friction points to make the whole process more enjoyable. It's a stressful situation, but it doesn't have to be so stressful.
I agree. And this thing of friction points, I love that term. So in the developing of iConnect, we've looked at a lot of those friction points. Look, you know as well as I do, you've operated on scale and you deal with 12,000 people in 12 months or a little more. You hear friction points, what they are. And you learn very fast, if you haven't learned already, right? You learn what are the friction points and what are the points that people really are looking for. And that's exactly where we're at. So no, we're not trashing what's behind. In my mind, in terms of opportunity in the real estate business, this is the picture I carry in my mind. Some people operate by pictures. I have my whole life. I see myself standing with colleagues on a beach, much like when I moved to California as a younger man and learned how to surf. And you watch the swell and you see the sets coming in. And every now and again, there's just a big set. And it rolls in and you watch this wave sucking water from the beach and you see it retreating from the beach. The wave grows and grows and grows until it has this, of course, in Hawaii, it has this tremendous impact, right? So I see that not as a fearful thing, but as a great thing. There is a huge wave gathering out in the ocean. And that wave used to be dominated by agents and brokers. Now it's a wave. The water, the ocean itself is consumers. And this consumer wave is coming towards us. And I'm standing on the beach with colleagues saying, guys, how are we going to handle this volume? The opportunity is enormous. Think of Zillow. Whether we like them or not, think of the mathematics, not the opinion. If you take 5, 6, 7 of the top major real estate brokerages, when you add up, based on Google Analytics, their total volume in a month, you take the top 6 brokerages, their total traffic volume is 1/10 of Zillow. And that's every major brokerage in the country. So what's happened is you have this massive traffic. Now homes.com has jumped from 60 million visitors a month to 156 million. There's hundreds of millions of people. There's only like 350 or so million people in America, but you got 200 million people visiting a site over a period of a month. So the traffic has moved. That's the wave. That's the wave. That's that huge traffic wave where you and I used to want an office parked by the freeway. Now the freeway is in my hand right here. There's the freeway. So how do we park ourselves by that freeway without spending $20,000 a month? And with iConnect, we're making that possible to agents for $67 a month. That they can stand right by this freeway, and any customer that's in that wave coming towards them, they're flying in from Canada to Palm Springs on the weekend, as an example, right? There's many examples around the nation. They're popping into Miami from London, and they have a few days, and they want to find an agent right now, what we call a right agent right now. They want to find that agent right now. And so they just simply tap on a map, and in that map, agents populate. They tap on the agent, and there's a communication channel. Now you talk about friction points. Of these 12,000 people we've spoken to, they're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to give my number to an agent, my email to an agent, and they're going to send me all those drip campaigns, and then they're going to put me up in a call center, and they're going to call me back. Now, with this wave coming, this person flies in from London, flies in from Canada, drives down from Los Angeles, can just tap on Kevin on that map. Kevin pops up. You have a list of all the services that you provide. I'm not talking about discount services. Just saying, wow, guys, these are all the things I do. I do contract negotiation. I do disclosures. I arrange inspections. I hold your hand even. Maybe there's a section that says hold your hand, right? All these things that we do. And you look at it, or I look at it and I go, wow, this Kevin guy really offers a lot of services. I want to talk to him. On iConnect, you tap on a communication button. And in a second, your phone goes off and you open a video conference with me. You don't release any information to me. Neither the agent releases information, nor does the client release information to the agent. There's a conversation. And now the principal has that conversation. So let's say I'm the principal and you're the agent, if I may, in this instance. And I ask you, I say, Kev, look, I'm flying in, and there's 4 or 5 properties my wife and I have seen. And I noticed that you do show properties, and I'd love for you to meet us. And you begin your cadence. You begin, all of that experience starts to come out. Now, look, it may be, Kevin, and you have to think of this with the wave. Part of that wave is people who just want to see 3 houses and they're not going to buy for a while. So they might tap on and say, hey, Kevin, we need you to show us 6 houses on Saturday. We're not going to buy. In fact, we're not going to buy for a long time. We're just interested in Spanish revival houses. You may or may not want to take that job or take that assignment. So you now have autonomy to say yes or no, or maybe, or somewhere in between. Now, if you then say to me as an agent, you say to me, yes, Andy, I will do this, that, and the other, and I feel good, I can say, I would really like to meet you, please. Are you free on Saturday? Yes. In a second, I tap on the button, I release my information to you. Because now we've got that rich introduction, that real-time introduction. I didn't call on a sign and wait for a call back. I didn't get a call center from an online portal. I didn't have an online portal manager cram an agent down my throat. I chose. I chose my movie. I chose my Uber. I chose my restaurant. I read the menu before I ordered the food. And now I chose my agent, and I like you. And I may ask you, hey, what do you charge? You say, look, I've done this 28 years and this is where I'm at. And we're going to, under the new construction in America, we're going to ask the seller to cover your fees for you as much as we possibly can. And the bottom line, that fee is going to be X, Y, Z, and we're going to get this job done for you. We're going to take you home. I go, great. Let's meet on Saturday. Now we've had this warm introduction, and only do I have to release my information. And this is what the public is so concerned about. This is why all the DNC laws have come out that are changing industry. This is why privacy laws dominate every site, because the consumer is saying, don't take stuff from me unless I tell you you can have it. Now we connect. And by the way, kind of a cool tech piece that you say, all right, Andy, we'll meet Saturday morning. Maybe it's Thursday, right? And Saturday morning, 2 hours before the appointment, you'll get a push notification. I'll get a push notification. You light up your screen and you can see my car driving towards you, how far away I am and when I'll get there. So now you have all of those issues of feeling comfortable, knowing that the agent is available, knowing that I'm not flying into town for nothing. How many people drive from Los Angeles to San Diego going, gosh, I hope my agent shows up, right? So you see all of this, and we've created this rich connection that is based on what the consumer wants, based on what the wave is, which is don't take from me unless I want to. And will you be available? Will you be accountable? Will you be accessible? And will you be affordable? The 4 A's of the Amazon principle. So that's the customer side of iConnect. We're extraordinarily excited about it and roll it out all over the country. It's about 2.5 months away. And then there's an agent side to it as well. Yeah, it's a very exciting time. For team leaders, it's just crazy because we assign 30 buyers a day through the iConnect agent app. which has an admin panel where literally a team leader can see on a screen every live appointment they have in real time. They can see the agents driving to their customers. They can say on a Saturday morning, hey, how many showings do we have today? All the showings pop up on the screen. And the minute they become live, they can track them. And they can see what's happening with their agents. They can manage agents and manage hundreds of connections a month sitting on the beach from a tablet.
This is so innovative. It is really responsive to what the consumers want. I know from over the years how frustrated home buyers get when they go to a portal, put in some information, and then suddenly they're getting called by 16 agents in a half an hour period, and they didn't want to be talking with any of them.
Exactly.
And now they're regaining that control in the conversation, only releasing their information to that buyer's agent or to that listing agent when they feel like, yes, I want to engage with this person. I have already vetted them. I already have made certain that I'm comfortable with that agent. Now, yes, you can release my information to them, and they're not getting inundated with every possible pitch and hook from every real estate agent, from the most experienced to the freshest licensed agent who just happens to be on that portal. They're going to connect with a top level agent who has already made it very clear their menu of services, their level of professionalism, their course of action, so that they're able to really deliver on the promises that they're making to those consumers.
This is something we studied really hard in our whole consumer research program before we started to spend a lot of money on iConnect. And one of my thoughts was going back to, I just love the story of Op City, that in just a very few years went from nothing to that tremendous organization. And then I think they were purchased for $100 million or something like that. And it's an extraordinary story. And it was based around the call center model, essentially. So you'd have an online lead that would be generated, a customer would express interest, that interest would be relayed to a party who would then speak to them in a professional way in the call center, and then assign that to either a paid agent or a referral fee agent, right? And that was huge. Now, I don't know how many years later, 10 years later or whatever it is, the whole momentum, for you and I years ago, call centers were it. But now, how many consumers in this massive wave coming towards the beach, how many consumers want a call center? Look, as a boy, I would call a call center for a taxi cab in London, and somebody would answer it and then send a taxi cab. And still in some parts of the world, that still happens. But instead of that, now I can just tap and swipe and, the whole thing. Of course, you understand that. Same thing. I used to go to a store that had lots of little black plastic boxes and there were movies inside, and you'd rent one. Until, how Netflix started, as two very clever guys said, let's mail ourselves a DVD and see if it breaks. So they mailed themselves a DVD because they realized people wanted to watch all the time. So they started then a mail order DVD business that then went into streaming. So all of this piece about call center, I actually think, now I'm looking forward to the future. I warned you a little bit. This is how I think. I believe we're at the sunset of call centers, that technology is so advanced now. I don't think we're yet at where you just tap your head and you have a screen in front of you. We're not far away from that. I definitely do think that consumers want to know, what's that restaurant going to charge me or whatever immediately. They don't want an intermediary. They want to do it. They don't want to call a young lady behind a booth at the beginning of the restaurant and say, do you have 7 o'clock tonight? They want to tap, swipe, have nobody interfere with their lives and make that choice. Now, a house is much bigger, but instead of call centers, my thought was, why don't we just connect everybody? Why don't we just do it? But you got to protect people, because safety is a big piece. So, for example, on the agent side, so we got the whole connection thing. That was a big speech on connection. On the agent side, you've got to have protection. So the agent obviously is tracked, based on iPhone technology. The agent is tracked, but on their profile, the agent can tap mask location. So if they are on duty or working or not at family time. By the way, the agent also has the autonomy to go into calendar and block out personal times. And when they block out personal times, their icon doesn't appear on the map. So they won't be interfered with. Because people might go, oh my gosh, somebody can call me at any time. No, if you go into your calendar has all sorts of algorithms and mechanisms written on the back of it by our technology geniuses. And you're literally blocked out from the calendar. You just don't appear. So you just say active or inactive. But here's the deal. If you show yourself as active, then you have what's called geo-tracking technology, or you're geo-dotted, right? What if that's my home? So we added on a mask function. So you can actually mask yourself. So you show as active, but your dot is moved between 1 and 10 kilometers from where you're located to protect your domicile or protect your personal identity. So then if you make that appointment with Kevin, who's coming in from town, your actual home is masked. But the minute you get on the freeway and start to move towards him, you tap on mask, and now Kevin can see his agent moving towards him. So this is all about anticipating that white field, what's in front of us in that open field, what's coming towards us. What's coming towards us is give me safety, give me access, give me service, give it to me now. Keep me out from awkward conversations. I don't want to be pitched. I don't want to be sold. I want to choose. And if we are, not if, giving people the power to make that choice, and also the agent has power. Consider this if you would. The agent now has power to go into their schedule in iConnect and choose when they want to work and not. Why is this a big deal? So during COVID, I saw an ad, and you got to understand, I'm an immigrant, came to America with $1,000. Just the classic immigrant story, just a hard worker, right? So I really believe in hard work. And I saw an Amazon ad, and we all know about this massive scaling of Amazon. And I saw the ad, and it said, how much do you want to work? Tell us how much you want to work, and we'll work with you. And I remember turning to my wife and saying, this really, I was indignant. What's happened here? Why don't people want to work? And then I let that go in an instant. And I spoke to myself my own words and said, Andrew, in front of you is an open canvas. Those who are really clever are walking onto that canvas and realizing human beings have evolved and human beings have changed. And the punching the clock mentality, or the I've got to go to the office mentality, is a thing of the past. And what are you going to do about it? And I realized something really clever that Amazon was doing. They broke down the arrival of trucks, the unloading of trucks, the stacking of the shelves, the selecting of items, and the packaging of items, and the shipping them back out again into man hours. They broke it all down into man hours. We have 50 trucks show up. It takes so many man hours, not so many people, so many man hours. They then created an algorithm, and they worked out that if people worked a minimum of 2 hours, they could have a sequence of people coming in throughout the day and the night. As long as the man hours matched the job at hand, it would work. So I shifted my mentality. And now real estate has an enormous percentage of agents, some of whom are quite successful, that real estate's a side hustle. And we're going to see even more of it. Here's the wave again, even more of it coming towards us. There are going to be many people who want to, Kevin, and many professionals like you and I wouldn't do this, who want to just go out and show 6 homes on the weekend, make a few $100. They're okay with that. They don't want to do the contracts and the legality and show up to physical inspections and disclosures and deal with the emotional trauma, and they want that. They just want to show up and open a few doors. God bless them. They're not going to sell homes. They want to. That's coming, right? But also the era of the professional is still going to be there. This is so fascinating to me that let's break down the labor of generating what's $100 billion in commissions a year. Let's generate that down into bites that each human can understand. One human may say, I've got 10 hours, I got 15, I got 20. All that we're saying is, look, we'll provide a platform where what hours you have, you can work. What hours you have, a customer can reach you. All that we're asking is that when you're on at those times that you're fully on, that because accountability is a big piece of it. So we built 15 metrics into the agent side of the platform that team leaders can monitor. And those metrics measure, for example, I'll give a simple example. Let's say you have 15 customers connect with you through iConnect. Out of those 15, you meet 10. Out of those 10, you don't meet any of them twice. Well, there's an inference there that there's a disconnect, isn't there? So that will attribute towards what we call the AI certification of that agent. We look at those metrics to see how qualified is that agent to meet that customer. Now, the customer can override it. Otherwise, there isn't autonomy, is there? It's a dictatorship. But at least the customer has the right to know, hey, this person works 6 hours a week and they do very, very well. Hey, this person works 50 hours a week and they don't do very well. So these 15 metrics are displayed in a summary form, very easy to read to the consumer. So the consumer can now choose what type of agent they want to meet them. Because if I was coming into where you live, I don't know if I'm allowed to say where you live. If I was coming into where you live and I wanted to meet an agent, I wouldn't call you. You know why? Because all I want to do is just look at a few houses. Just want to look at a few houses and go, because I'm really interested in what houses look like in that part of the world. Why would I call you with all your immense experience? But I'll tell you something. When I talk to my wife and come home and say, I really liked the houses up there, we need somebody sharp who's going to negotiate for us. Let's go back and start tapping on the map. Do you think I'm going to choose you? 100%. 100 out of 100. So I don't think we should be afraid about how Amazon, in this case, the general public, breaks down the job. What's important is, are we there for the job and fully engaged when that opportunity comes up, and that we have the courage to say yes or no. I would like to do that. I would not like to do that. That's way better than showing somebody property for 3 months and finding out they're going to write it up through their cousin.
Andrew, this has been so eye-opening and so exciting. I'm always excited to talk with you and so excited to have you share everything. Let's give people an opportunity again to connect with you. So if you're a real estate agent and you're thinking, boy, I want to get in touch with Andrew and figure out how to become a part of his team, they're going to go to this website on the screen. But for those of you listening, it is www.twtcareer.com, and that stands for the Warburton team. So twtcareer.com. And on there, Andrew, they're going to do what? They're going to watch a video and learn a little bit more about working with you?
So that's for people particularly who maybe belong to EXP already and would like to benefit from our lead systems. Or maybe they're not in EXP and they're just looking for somewhere to hang their license, which would be just great. But again, I shared with you, we have 90 or so EXP agents who've joined us just to work with us on a referral basis just in the last 90 days. So if you're looking to fill the top of your funnel, we don't have to steal you away from your sponsor or whatever. We'd be glad to work with you.
It's a wonderful opportunity. And you know what? Whoever your sponsor may be at EXP, they're going to be delighted when you're starting to really take on more activity, crushing it, just doing more business, and everyone wins.
Yep.
And for real estate agents who are curious about your technology offering, they want to go to iconnect.com. And go ahead and spell that for everyone.
So that's ICONNCT. Just leave out the E. So ICONNCT.com. Everything's under dev right now. But it's sitting right there, and you can learn about the agent side of things. You can learn about the team leader side of things, and also as a consumer. And there's opportunities there to sign up for pre-launch and so on and so forth. Everything's there. So it's ICONNCT.com.
And if people want to give you a call, then they can dial this number. Go ahead and share that.
So that's 888-534-4899. 888-534-4899. One of our wonderful team staff will talk to you, and hopefully I get to talk to you as well.
And those people who are interested in connecting with you about your technology offering, we want to give them an opportunity. They'll connect with people on your team. Go ahead and share a best email for that.
So info at kind-1technology.com. So that's info at kind, Kind, kind-1, the numeral 1, technology.com. And if you're interested from an investor point of view, I believe we just closed out our first round of funding. We'd be glad to stay in touch with you. A gentleman by the name of Lou Ronayne, who's tremendously influential in our business, will get in touch with you. Or if you're interested from, again, a team leader side or agent side, what's going on with Kind One Technology, what's the next stage, then reach out to us again at info@kind-1technology.com.
Fantastic. Andrew, thank you so much for your time today. This has been an absolute pleasure connecting with you.
Thank you. I've enjoyed it very much. And I am going to get on a plane with my wife. I'm going to come up. I'm going to take you out for Italian food.
We'd love it. We'd love it. Thank you.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Andrew.